those of you who got an invite, welcome to Nerd Prom.
No matter where in the world you are, we're all Nerds International. With the hyphen.
Alright, YouTube, it's Mr. Mean coming at you from very crappy Beaumont, Texas. It is raining here, and it looks crappy outside. You probably still hear the frog in my throat. I'm still got a little bit of a, I don't know, cold or sinuses. I have no idea what's got me, but it has been kicking my ass for the last 3 weeks. Originally it was the flu, and then it was a stomach virus, and now I think it's either sinuses or a cold. I apologize. I sound a little harsh. I look a little rough, but hey, that's what you get. So anyway, today's video du jour, I said I wasn't going to do one this week, and I even posted on my G Plus and my Facebook that I was going to spend the weekend resting. Well, I've done that. I didn't get much sleep last night. My poor son has got a I don't know, a cold or a sinus. I don't know what he's got, but poor little guy can't breathe, and he's such a happy baby though. He's a good kid. But anyway, he's sick. Take him to the doctor tomorrow. But anyway, today, Sunday, April 2nd, it is currently 6:30 my time. We are going to do a review of a Savage Worlds setting. Remember, for any of the settings for Savage Worlds, you need this book. This is the Deluxe Explorers Edition. They reprint these every so often from Pinnacle. They're $10. If you're paying more than $10, you're getting ripped off. You can buy this directly from Pinnacle for $10. You can buy it at your favorite local game store for $10. You can buy it on Amazon for less than $10. But I recommend you get it from your favorite local game store, or your whatever retailer you can go to, and get it for $10, because that supports the company. But the game we're going to talk about is a campaign that I'm getting ready to play in here real soon. My friend John is going to run it, and I get to be a player, so I'm pretty excited. And it is Deadlands. I am a huge fan of Deadlands. I have been since the original edition, which I do have, but it is buried in boxes. But the one cool thing I wanted to show is, of course, this is the current player's guide. There's also a Marshal's Handbook. Players in this game are referred to as the posse, and then the GM is referred to as the marshal. If you don't know about Deadlands, it originally had its own system where it used all the dice, D12 all the way down, and use multiples of. So you could chuck a handful of dice, and it was glorious. It was fun. The shooting rules were fantastic, dueling and everything like that. Magic and hucksters, were amazing. But this is the current iteration, and it uses the current Savage Worlds rules. So you're a wild card character, so you're going to use a D6. That's your wild die, and then whatever skill you're trying to use and or ability. If you're making strength or agility or whatever, you would use those. So they've reduced the number of dice, but the mechanics are still just as cool. So this is the current rule book. So if this is the one you need if you're going to be a player. I do have the Marshal's Handbook. I don't know where it's at. They're also available as PDFs, so you can find them. And then in 2005, they came out with this version, Deadlands Reloaded. With a variation of I think it's Jacob Lynch, I think is the character. I'm not quite sure. Which was kind of a play on Brahms' original character of the Hanging Judge. Or no, the Hanging Judge was a separate character. Brahm did an image of the Hanging Judge, I think. And then he also did, I think it's, this is the classic, he's a harrowed, which means, that's right, in Deadlands, you do die, characters can die, but you have a chance of coming back as the undead, which is called harrowed. And you have all your powers and abilities that you had while you were alive, plus you get some new things. And it also makes like riding horses and getting close to wildlife difficult, because they can smell death on you and they don't want to be anywhere near you. But we're getting too deep into it. So this is the Deadlands Reloaded. This was in 2005, and this is a core rulebook. This is everything you need. This had the Marshal's Handbook in it and the player's side. So this was everything you needed. So if you can find this in your local game store, the rules are still valid. There's a couple minor changes, but you could it's still playable. It's still a good book. Now, this one's a treat. I picked this up, I want to say at, not Bookstand. There was a bookstore in Arizona. I can't think of the name of it right now, but they did new and used books, mostly used stuff. And you could bring stuff in and trade it in and get store credit and all that fun stuff. And I just happened to be there one day. I think we were getting ready to move from Arizona to Louisiana, so I popped in real quick, and I sold a bunch of stuff, just things that I didn't want. But I also looked around because I had some store credit, and I found, boom! Let's see if you can see that. Deadlands. 10th anniversary issue by Shane Lacey Hensley. And this is neat because it's obviously a gold foil cover with a leather-like cover. The nice part is there's a signature plate inside, and it is number 297 of 1,000. I can't believe somebody let this go, but they did, and it's signed by Shane. I meant to take this to the convention with me at OwlCon earlier this year, and I forgot. But I was digging through some stuff, and I saw it when I was getting ready for my Deadlands game, and so I found it. So I was going to pull it out, and I'll be going to other conventions that Shane's at, because he goes to a lot of the cons in this area. So I'll have another chance to get him to sign it. I'm not worried about it. So anyway, so that's Deadlands. It's been around for, God, they just had their 20th anniversary Kickstarter where they're reprinting the original Deadlands. The Kickstarter's already closed, but I believe if you go to Kickstarter or you go to Pinnacle's website, you can still get in on it. You know, they have the after. You don't get all the freebies, but you can purchase them. All the stretch goals that were unlocked, you can purchase them and stuff. And what that's going to do is going to be like 400 and something pages. And it's the original Deadlands, the version I was telling you about that uses all the dice, and they've colorized it because the original one was black and white. So they went through and they colored it and put everything in there. And man, I got to tell you, it looks fantastic. As always, Pinnacle does a great job with their Kickstarters, and the book is already done. They were just they launched the Kickstarter, they recolorized it, they got some art revitalized, colorized a lot of the art, and then they're printing. Now they got the money, obviously, from the Kickstarter, and it funded like, I don't know, insanely fast. So not only did they get the money they needed, they pushed a lot of the stretch goals, which we're going to get. And one of the cool things they did was there was a tier, and I think there was only 500 of them, where you could get this really cool Hellstrom's whiskey. And it was a wooden box, and everything fits inside of the book, the poker chips, the poker cards, the dice, all fit inside of this box. It was like $200. I couldn't afford it. I was in the process of looking for a job, or I think I had just gotten a job, so I just didn't have the money. Plus, my wife would kill me if I spent $200 on a Kickstarter. So I passed on it, but I did get the print copy of the book for like $50-$60. So I'll have that coming here, and I think they're getting close to shipping here real soon. They're going to ship it, and so we'll get it hopefully fairly soon. So I'm excited about that, and I'll do an unboxing video when that comes in. So Deadlands is the best way to describe it is a spaghetti western with meat, which was their early advertisements, which was what caught me on the game. And of course, it had a lot of art, or some of the art was by Brahm, and it was phenomenal. Excuse me. And so you basically make a character. You use poker cards, and then it used, instead of the bennies that we traditionally know, it used poker chips to replace those bennies. You had white, red, and blue. White, was just a regular benny. You could use it for this and that, just like a regular benny could. A red would allow you to add a d6 to a die roll, but when you spent the red, the GM got a free chip. He could draw a chip out of the bag. You put all these chips in a bag, and so you can't see them, and then you draw 3 at random. Just like you get 3 bennies in normal Savage Worlds, you got 3 bennies in Deadlands, but they were poker chips, red, white, and blue. So then, and then you could spend a blue chip, and the cool part is a blue chip could do anything the white or the red chip could do, but the GM doesn't get to draw a chip. So that was the kudos part of it. And then there was a fourth kind of chip called a legendary chip, but you didn't start the game with any of those. That would go in when the GM decided that you had beaten whatever the major foe is for the adventure that you were doing. If it was a legendary critter or something worthy, he would put a special chip in there, like a gold chip or whatever color chip you have. I have some casino chips that are different from my regular poker chips, and that's what I used when I was running it. So anyway, so that's the poker chip themes. And then initiative and everything was a poker deck, just like Savage Worlds is. The cool part is in Deadlands, when you had a duel, because obviously you're going to be playing gunslingers and stuff like that, gunfighters. When two gunfighters squared off, you basically made a poker deck, a poker hand, and then whoever had the better hand would quote unquote win. And then you would look at your hands against each other, and then that would dictate damage and stuff, and then you'd roll and go from there. But they took Magic to a different level. They had Holes, Hoyle, poker deck or poker book for card tricks and stuff. And inside of there, if you had one of the early copies of this book, supposedly in the game world, they had spells and magic in it. And so you could manipulate the forces of magic, or the Manitous, as it says, and you could do some cool stuff. So you had all your basic Savage World spells. You just had to use a poker deck to get them off, and that would dictate how well you did. So it was a really cool mechanic. My backup character for John's game is going to be a huckster, just because I think that's pretty cool, and I'm gonna call him Sylvester Slick. He's gonna be a city boy, tenderfoot. I really dig Deadlands. I think it's a very fun game, and it lends itself to some good old role playing, and I'm really looking forward to playing the game. So and of course, getting back to the different types of characters in Deadlands, you had shamans, you had tinkerers, you had the Pony Express, you had Pinkertons, which were like the government law enforcement that hunted down the weird things that go bump in the night and stuff. So you could play those characters. So it was really cool, and is very cool. So it's nice to see that the game is still going strong, and I'm looking I'm looking forward to playing in John's game when we can get that off and running. So let's see what else about Deadlands. Obviously, it's still supported. You can go on Pinnacle's website and you can download some one-shot adventures and the quick start rules for Savage Worlds. That's all you really need. And I believe they might even have a primer for Deadlands. I'm not sure. I haven't been on Pinnacle's website in a minute, so check it out. www.peginc.com, peginc.com. Go check them out. It's a cool website. You can get a lot of cool stuff on there anyway. So that's really it for Deadlands. I can't think of anything else. Like I said, spaghetti western with meat. Great story. The ability to tell a great story. The story part is up to the GM. They have a lot of plot point adventures. They have a lot of material out for it. If you go and you back the Kickstarter or you buy into it now, even though it's closed, you can get a lot of the old adventures. They've updated them and colorized them and everything, because they were all black and white before. I think, and they may still be black and white. I stand corrected. I don't believe they colorized them. They just reprinted them, or making them available for the Kickstarter people who buy into it. So a lot of good adventures. There's a really good one that ties in with Werewolf the Apocalypse, the Wild West. So they did a lot of cool things. It's a cool game. If you've never played it, give it a shot. It might be hard to find a group in your area that's willing, but hey, pick up a book and become the GM and get your D&D players into it. You might find out that you like it. There's a lot of really good westerns out there, and if you're into western movies, there's a ton. And there's even one that's kind of Deadlands oriented. It's called Gallow Walkers, and it's got the guy who played Blade. I can't think of his name. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes is in it. It's a horrible movie. It's a B-rated movie at best, but it's very Deadlands themed. So if you're getting ready to run a Deadlands game, you might want to give that a watch. It kind of sets you in the mood. It's a horrible movie, but it is appropriate for Deadlands. Let's see, what can I think? I'm babbling on here, but I think we're going to keep this short and sweet. I'm going to do another video here in a minute, and I'll post both of them up today. The second video is going to be on Cold and Dark, because I actually posted the wrong video for that review, so I have to reshoot it and or re-record it, I should say, and post it. So I'm going to do that now. But anyway, as always, please visit your favorite local game store or your favorite local game retailer and support them, because without that money coming in, the brick and mortar stores close and go away, and then you got nowhere to buy your games except online, and that's no fun, because also brick and mortar stores usually allow you to play. So shameless plug for your local store. Go out there, buy stuff. If they don't have what you want, ask them to order it. A lot of times they will order it. You may have to pay for it up front, you may not, but you know what, they can usually get it for you. So anyway, as always, peace and hair grease, and as I always say, be nice.